and this is Paul from Offroad Alliance. We're here to show you guys how to install our triple bezel fog light kit. On the table here is displayed the contents of the kit, including some rigid Radiance lights that we'll be installing into the kit today. These have a center clear light as well as an amber halo on this particular light. Our kit can be used with any cube light and KC HiLites Flex lights in the corners. We have two custom harnesses that we include with our kit. These are pre-measured for the Raptor, pre-spliced and weather protected. Each harness is equipped with 3 connectors on each end, quick connectors that plug right into the lights. For our D series lights, rigid lights, KC lights, etc., we have DT connectors on the sides. For Baja lights, it's equipped with 2 weather pack connectors, as well as a D series connector for the KC Flex light. Each one of the connectors is color coded to match each side, so that when you're connecting them up under your hood to your auxiliary switches, you'll know which wire controls which pair of lights. So each one of these connectors can be paired with a light, so you can use your auxiliary switches to control one pair of light. You can use multiple switches, so you could use 3 switches in this kit. You can use 2 switches if you want to control multiple pairs of lights with one switch. It's just a matter of tying the connectors on the end together to your auxiliary switch however you want. So you have a multitude of options on how to install the lights as far as controlling them with the switches. The kit comes equipped with stainless steel brackets. These are all stainless steel, powder coated. Basically, when installing these brackets, we'll get into that a little bit later, they use a leverage system to slide into place. So it comes with 2 brackets. It comes with your KC Flex lights. Your Flex lights can also, as an option, come with an amber cover. The amber cover is placed over the Flex light, and it is color matched to match the vehicle grille lights, parking lights, and marker lights, same color temperature. It comes with all the hardware you need to install the bracket onto the truck, as well as install the lights onto the brackets. And then we have our fairings that are snap fit into place onto the bracket, which gives the depth and allows you to adjust the lights very easily. Also included in the kit are rubber gaskets. These gaskets go around the edge of the bumper, so when the bracket is installed, it squeezes into the bumper and squeezes against the gasket. Therefore, there's no rattle. It also protects your bumper and it protects the bracket itself. Of course, we included an install guide. The install guide is going to take you step by step through the process of installing the kit onto your truck, including the wiring. We're also available at any time via phone or email if you have any questions while you're installing your kit. We're open from 8 a.m. till midnight Eastern time, so usually there's somebody available. If you get your kit, you're in the middle of an install, just give us a call. No problem, we can help you out on the phone. All of our numbers are listed on the website as well as inside the install guide. Okay, first step in the installation is to put the gasket sealed around the bumper opening. It goes on the inside, and it's going to allow that bracket to squeeze up against it. It's very simple. You just kind of slide the gasket in and then push it around with your fingers as you go around. So once the gasket is installed, it fits snugly around the opening, and it will actually get squeezed into position with the bracket. Next, we're going to put our clips onto the bracket. The bracket actually slips up behind the bumper assembly and then squeezes into position as it gets tightened against the gasket. So you want to put the bracket in at a 45, catch these bolts, and then as it tightens, it'll squeeze up into position. I like to put a little bit of soap or lubrication up in the corners of the bracket or on the gasket, here and here. It helps the bracket slide by without catching the gasket. Another pro tip is I like to work with the bottom bolt. The top bolt is kind of blind when you're working with it. If you work exclusively with the bottom bolt and just catch the top bolt, you can actually control the direction that the bracket slides into. Once it's snug, start to snug up the top bolt and then tighten them both equally and just keep checking the position of the bracket so that you know it's in place. All right, when the bracket is installed properly, you'll have a small space, very small space at the top and bottom in the middle, because the bumper actually has a curve to it. So the bracket's going to suck up to all 4 corners and be really sturdy. You should have equidistant spacing in the corners, and that's when you know the bracket is installed correctly. Next is to put the fairings in. The fairings snap fit into the bracket openings. There is 2 tabs, top and bottom. What we want to do is just take a look at those tabs prior and make sure that there's no additional plastic from the molding process, which can impede the ability for the fairing to snap into place. If they look clean, which these do, you simply go behind from the back, snap the bottom one in, and push and snap them in. They will be tight. They're supposed to be tight. Once in place, the light and the 2 tabs will give retention so that the fairings don't fall out. Okay, so with the fairings installed and in place, gasket in place, bracket is solid, we're going to install the lights. We like to work from the inside out. Basically what I do is I loosen the light but make it just tight enough so you can muscle it around. Install the first light, get it into position, and then tighten it up all the way. I like to position it with using a Nerf play dart or a suction cup dart on the face of the light. It'll show trajectory. That way I can get a pretty good idea where the light is going to be facing. If you push the light tight against the inside of the fairing, that should make the light parallel to the ground, which is approximately the way you want it. Any movement at the light, small movement, is a big movement down the road, so be careful when adjusting. You don't want to move it very much. Okay, as you can see, we've installed the lights and they're all into position. We've got the amber cover on the outside KC Flex light. In the daytime, to adjust the lights, I like to use these play darts. I just simply stick them to the surface, and it gives me the trajectory of the light. It's a little bit of a pro tip. So next we'll be wiring, and I'll just talk a little bit more about the wiring harness as we do that. So this wiring harness, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is pre-measured and pre-spliced specifically for the Raptor. We have 3 quick connect weatherproof or weather-tight connectors on each side. Starting on the driver's side, I like to run this up over the frame rail, connect to the lights, and then back across the skid plate, attaching it to the frame with zip ties. And then on the same side, passenger side, back up over the frame rail, connect it in, and then up into the engine compartment just near the battery. On this side, on the engine compartment side, we have 5 wires. 4 wires for the 3 sets of lights and the halo, and then the ground wire. You do have to ground the ground wire to a metal part of the truck, fender, frame, or directly to the negative side of the battery in order for the lights to function properly. Once you have your wiring harness run and zip tied to the frame, you're going to want to connect the auxiliary switches to the lights. There's 5 wires up on the end of your harness under the engine compartment. 1 is used if you have a halo light. Each switch is 1 wire. Make sure you locate the correct set of wires. Each truck has 2 sets of wires. 1 is a simple pass-through set that will come through and just be for future accessories. The other is the actual wires to your auxiliary switches. I encourage you to connect 1 wire, test it to make sure you have the right set of wires, and then continue on. You're just going to simply butt connect the wires from the harness to the switch that you want, which correspond to the color of the pair of the lights, and then ground the entire harness to the fender. I like to use this grounding bolt just over the windshield washer fluid container. All right, so we've fully installed the light kit. This project, if you're handy with a set of tools, should take between 2 to 3 hours, roughly, including the wiring. As you can see, this customer has his outside lights on 1 switch. He's also elected to put the halos, in this particular set of lights has an amber halo, as you can see that it's lit now, on a 2nd switch. And on the 3rd switch, he'll have his clear bright lights. Troy, if you could just throw those on. Aligning the lights after they're on is pretty easy to do. You just remember that a small movement at the light is a big movement down the road. The major thing that sets us apart from the rest of the bumper light kits is we have a fully enclosed bracket. So our entire system is composed of filling in the entire void in the bumper opening, not just having lights hanging in the pocket.